Howdy everyone, and welcome to the Real Geek TV YouTube channel. My name is James Eatock, and today I'm going to tell you all about the history of the Ghostbusters promo, both on the production side and on the fan community side. Plus I'll be showcasing some never before seen material from the promo. So let's go that's the wrong show. Firstly, Ghostbusters was huge in the 1980s, as was the Real Ghostbusters. We can all agree on that, right? Well, in the US, the popularity of the jumpsuited paranormal investigators was soon eclipsed by the arrival of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. However, over here in the UK, the Real Ghostbusters was given a year or two more to breathe due to the Turtles not arriving on our shores until 1990. Even when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles became a phenomenon, due to there only being 2 channels in the UK that aired cartoons in the afternoon time slot, the Real Ghostbusters did manage to maintain a level of popularity, airing all the way until the very late 90s. And so when Children's ITV aired the behind the scenes special titled Slimer Won't Do That in 1989, it was pretty much at the show's peak, and the following day at school we were all talking about it. Around about the same time, something unique popped up on toy shelves. Known as the Action Replay, these little rectangular boxes were mini movie players. You would insert the cartridge, upon which was usually about 20 seconds of footage. No audio, just entertaining visuals. Well, one day a classmate pulled out one of these Action Replays, and he had acquired a reel from the Real Ghostbusters. Cool, we all thought, but when we each took a look at the footage used, we were left rather puzzled. The silent footage showed the Ghostbusters chasing down Slimer, and they were all wearing the uniforms seen in the movie. Also, the proton packs and proton guns looked different, and Peter Venkman even had a face that seemed to be rounder. And Slimer, well, he looked evil. The action also seemed incredibly madcap, with one of the 2 reels that we watched ending with Ecto-1 driving up a bridge, flying through the air and crashing into a woman's apartment. But this was 1989. There was no internet as we would come to know it. There was no ability to source where this footage was from or what it was even used for. I got on the internet in late 1995, and one of the first posts I ever made was about Ragnarok and Roll being my favourite episode of the Real Ghostbusters. I think the forum was called Dominion? I mean, this was nearly 30 years ago. Anyway, I dipped in and out of the Ghostbusters community during the late 90s, with the He-Man and She-Ra community being my main focus. In mid to late 1996, Paul Rudolph's Spook Central website rose in prominence, and even in its earliest days it was a hub of information. Well, during that time, images from all over the place began to pop up on the website, and one particular set of images resulted in me losing my mind. Yes, these were the images I saw many years earlier on that little mini movie reel. I soon learned that this unique footage of the Real Ghostbusters was from a short used to promote the pending series. The images that Paul Rudolph featured on his website came from 2 sources: the ABC promo provided by Lanny White, which we know aired at least once on August 17, 1986, and the Blockbuster video promo provided by the late, truly talented Doreen Mullman. Although we had the images and a few clips, beyond that there was little else, and so throughout the early part of the 2000s there was little progression in our ability to locate it. In 2008, having worked with him a few times already, producer Andy Mangles contacted me asking if I would like to work on a DVD box set release of the Real Ghostbusters. I don't think I even attempted to play it cool, with my answer being a resounding yes, but it would get better. Andy would fly me out to Los Angeles to aid in the making of the many documentaries and bonus features that accompanied the set. During that blessed time, I had the pleasure of meeting and actually becoming friends with numerous people that worked on the cartoon. Yeah, that's just Marsha Goodman, voice director of the Real Ghostbusters, and Laura Summer, the voice of Janine Melnitz, taking me out for dinner last year. Well, during the filming of the documentaries, Dan Reba and Kevin Altieri were to join us and be interviewed with regards to their work on the show. Dan arrived first and we got chatting. Soon after, Kevin arrived and he produced this leather-bound folder and said rather nonchalantly, "You may be interested in these materials." From within this folder, Kevin produced a storyboard for the original promo. Dan began looking through it. Me, I think my jaw was still on the floor. Before I had a chance to pick it up, Kevin then produced a videotape of the promo. Again, I lost my mind. I cannot stress how blown away I was. At this point, we fans never thought we would get to see the promo in its entirety, and yet, here it was, in front of me. I was incredibly thankful to Kevin that he had transferred it, but there was a very good reason he had done so. He had directed it, but we'll come back to that shortly. Firstly, yes, I took photos of this experience. Dorky, of course, but I wanted to capture the moments of being the first fan to have ever seen the full promo. Honestly, holding that VHS tape, young skinny James Eatock felt so much power. The power was amazing. The power! Excuse me. I watched the promo and just found myself smiling throughout. I'd only ever seen a couple of scenes, but here was the full thing, and it was a thing of beauty. I knew my fellow fans were going to lose their minds when they saw it. I hurriedly made a personal digital transfer of it, rewound the VHS and placed it back in its case alongside the storyboard in the leather-bound folder. As perfect as the Time Life DVD box set is, sadly their transfer of the VHS wasn't as strong as my personal copy, and they even omitted the original title card. And well, for many years that was kind of it. We finally had the promo in all its VHS glory, thanks to the kindness of Kevin Altieri. But the story does not end there, not yet. In 2017, Ghostbusters fan Robert Barbieri was contacted by fellow collector Ed Rentz. Ed had just been to a young couple's home to buy a loose lot of Mattel Ghostbusters toys. Upon arriving, he noticed a bunch of other Ghostbusters items off to one side. Ed ended up buying everything Ghostbusters related. Whilst driving home, he called Robert and asked him if he was interested in the materials. Although a blind purchase, being a hardcore collector, Robert spent a few $100s and took a chance that there would be something of value in there. And there was. He opened the box to find press kits for the movie. Nice. A making of Ghostbusters book. Not bad. 35mm trailers for both Ghostbusters movies. Very nice. And a film canister with Geek Enterprises and Ghostbusters written on it. Robert thought to himself that it could be a commercial for the show or maybe even a random episode of the series. He had no clue. Looking at the reel, he held it up to the light and could not believe what he saw. And much like I had done with the VHS tape 9 years before, he lost his mind. He had procured a one-of-a-kind 16mm print of the Ghostbusters promo. This was the master reel. Robert, thankfully not one to simply sit on something like this, had the film transferred and kindly clued myself and Dusan Mitrovic in on the process. Once the film was transferred, Robert went in frame by frame cleaning up the footage and doing his best to return it to its former glory. It took him 4 months cleaning over 5,500 frames and then an additional month colour correcting each scene individually in Adobe Premiere. Dusan provided the restored audio for the trailer, cheekily putting in some static at the beginning of the reel prior to the footage. The end result was officially endorsed by Sony, who even drew up a contract with Robert so that whenever they used it, he would be credited for his hard work, rightfully so. The restoration made its world debut for the 34th anniversary on Ghostbusters Day on the relaunching of Ghostbusters.com. It then made its Blu-ray debut on the 35th anniversary steel set a year later on a special disc. But most awesomely of all, the restoration was also endorsed not only by the late great Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman, but also by the director of the promo himself, the aforementioned Kevin Altieri. And speaking of Kevin, when I met him back in 2008, he explained how the pilot came to be. Back in late 1985, Richard Rainis informed Kevin that Geek were going to pitch a show based on the movie Ghostbusters to the ABC network, and so they needed a promo. Being a fan of the movie, Kevin leapt at the chance to direct it, also storyboarding it alongside fellow artist Eddie Fitzgerald. Due to the incredibly quick turnaround, there was no planned structure to the promo. They knew only that the theme song would accompany their work. Kevin and Eddie drew scene after scene after scene as ideas came to them. Eddie storyboarded the ghost walking down the street as a direct homage to John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, even including it in his nose, while Kevin illustrated the heroes in many action-packed scrapes. The pair had no character models to work with and based all of their designs on the movie, which is why in the storyboards the characters look like their movie counterparts, Winston even sporting a moustache. Even though character models were created for the animation team by Gabby Payne, these would later be changed when work commenced on the actual series. Aside from Slimer playing up his movie role of villain in the promo, as well as Egon's hairstyle illustrated slightly tamer than it would be in the series, one of the most important character changes was that of Peter Venkman. Early on in the production of the promo, Deke had been told not to have the animated Ghostbusters resemble the actors from the film. However, the Peter Venkman character that appears in the promo still bore some resemblance to actor Bill Murray, and when the time came to work on the series, Peter's face and hairstyle were redesigned to look more angular and less round. It is also worth mentioning that the animation throughout the promo is of an incredibly high standard, and while it is clear that there were numerous Japanese animation teams working on it, they all appeared to be producing their best work. Now, let's break down this wonderful piece of animated Ghostbusters history. The opening scene shows individuals reacting to something off screen as that memorable piece of music kicks in. The quick shot and animation on the woman's over-the-top scream is just awesome and really sets the mood for the entire promo. When the crowd scatter, we see for the first time the ghost strutting down the street. This animation would be reused in the actual opening of the series, albeit with the backgrounds repainted for night instead of day. Next we see the firehouse with Ray, Winston, Egon and Peter awoken by the alarm. And yes, we get our first Stay Puft Marshmallow Man cameo. There he is. Sadly, no Janine Melnitz in this promo. But our first glimpse of the jumpsuited paranormal investigators is memorable, with them all sporting their movie uniforms and equipment. A wonderful trait of the promo sees Ray atop the Ecto-1, something we would never see in the series. I love that shot of the Ecto-1 screeching through the traffic. We now see their target revealed, a Stay Puft truck spilling marshmallows with a certain green ghost as the culprit. Now this next shot with Ray on the roof of the Ecto-1 unleashing the power of the proton pack is just fantastic. Much like the movie, the result of the Ghostbusters' action seems as destructive as the ghosts themselves. It's hilarious to see Egon and Winston looking at one another in confusion here, only to react in horror as they see the green ghost now in control of Ecto-1. And this is where the promo gets even crazier. The Ecto-1 goes from soaring through the air into a woman's apartment. Utterly wonderful madness. Man, can you imagine being at Deke when this promo came back from Japan and getting to watch it for the first time? It would have been a blast. I love how this next sequence of events are staged with a bigger ghost popping up followed by an even larger, frankly bizarre looking elephant-like monster dropping into shot, which causes the ground to break and Ray and Peter to fall into the subway. Whew, but no time to breathe because here comes Mr. Stay Puft. Ray and Peter are taken once more, this time by a ghostly pilot, leaving the guys hanging onto a drain pipe, which begins to tilt. Meanwhile, Egon and Winston are running for their lives, pursued by the group of ghosts. Just awesome animation. Spot the Stay Puft painting on the wall too. Egon and Winston exit the building with great haste, just as Ray and Peter, still holding onto the drain pipe, fall on top of the pair. Reunited, the guys turn to see the large group of ghosts led by the Green Ghost and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. The climax of the promo was pretty much repurposed for the eventual opening of the series, with the Ghostbusters standing their ground. The pace intentionally slows down here to showcase the awesome technology of the Ghostbusters, and of course, the iconic ignition of the proton pack. The Ghostbusters fire upon the collection of spirits, with the Green Ghost initially escaping. Mr. Stay Puft watches the little green guy fly past and reacts to the beams now surrounding him with great fury. Just as it appears that the green ghost is going to escape, a beam grabs him and pulls him back. The trap contains all of the ghosts, including the green ghost and Mr. Stay Puft, whose hat falls onto the floor. A nice little moment has the green ghost's hand emerge from the trap and snatch the hot dog. And finally, we see a celebratory shot of the Ghostbusters having won the day, and for the first time we learn the name of the show, Ghostbusters. The Real Ghostbusters. Imagine being an executive at ABC and having that promo presented to you. To ask the question whether or not the promo served its purpose would be redundant. Not only did Deke manage to successfully sell the show to ABC and astonishingly into syndication at the same time, but it also became one of the longest running 80s cartoons with a staggering 6 years of production. For an animated short that ran for 3 minutes and 49 seconds, this was an impressive feat. To Kevin Altieri and all of those involved in the making of this little masterpiece, thank you. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.